Hello, hello. This is another episode of Motivational Monday Live with your host, Aura Elena Martinez. And this week's episode is entitled, There's Nothing Wrong with Wanting More. Now, before I start with this week's topic, I want to start off by introducing myself. If this is the first time that you are watching this series, and share with you what was it that got me to start this series to begin with. So, once again, my name is Arlena Martinez, and I'm a self discovery and empowerment coach, helping women gain total clarity in their purpose so they can wake up to daily fulfillment and certainty. Now, purpose is not to be limited to just a calling. And why is that? Because you could be living your calling and still not be living your most purposeful life, right? Because purposeful life also consists of you enjoying greater levels of mental well being, emotional well being, spiritual well being, physical well being, and why not? Even financial well being. And why is that? Because every part of you and your life matters. Every part of you and your life matters. And that's because everything is connected, right? And what motivated me to start this series is the fact that Monday tends to be that day of the week that people are like, oh my God, it's the start of another week. And now I got to go to work. And now I have to do this. Oh, I'm not looking forward to this. Let me just tell you this. If Mondays is the day of the week that you just do not look forward to, you don't like your job, you don't like the way your life is, you don't like the way things are in your life, let that be your sign. Let that be your sign that something seriously has to change. Something has to change, right? Because you're not meant to be dreading the beginning of the week, dreading going to work, dreading how your life is. That's not how you're designed to live. And it is my intention with the series that each and every time you get closer and closer to your truth. And why is it so important for you to uncover your truth? Because the more you uncover your truth, the more you're able to live your truth. And the more you're able to live your truth, the more you're able to live authentically. And it's when you live authentically, according to your true essence, which is your soul, according to the stage in which you find yourself in your life, that's when you're able to find this fulfillment that you seek, this happiness that you seek, that doesn't rely on something outside of you to have that. Okay. It's something that comes from within. That's the way you start getting it. One of the ways, right? Is you living authentically. And also, it is my sincere desire that this series always elevates your level of consciousness. And why is that so important? Because the more you elevate your level of consciousness, you just don't see life the same way. You don't see yourself the same way. You're able to make different decisions. You're able to gain a different level of wisdom, right? Just like when you are on the first floor and you're looking outside, everything looks big, right? The cars look big, people look normal size, right? Buildings look very big. But if you go up to the 10th floor and you start looking outside from the 10th floor, people start looking like miniatures. They start looking smaller, right? The cars don't look as big as they looked before, right? The buildings don't look so big. And I'm using that as an analogy for you to get that the more we raise our level of consciousness, the more we're able to see in a different way, right? The things that were once big, they start looking smaller. You're able to make better decisions. The reason why some people are able to get certain things while others don't is because they're in the level of consciousness to get it. This is why it's so important for you to always be raising your level of consciousness because it affects what you're able to get and what you don't get. When you're able to see the opportunities for yourself or when you're not able to. All of that plays a big role. So it is my intention that this always elevates your level of consciousness. So once again, this week's topic is entitled There's Nothing Wrong with Wanting More. Now, I want to share the following because this is going to tie very closely to the topic that I'm going to be discussing today. It's very interesting that I had this planned. I had already previously planned this topic, but I didn't even remember that this was the topic that I was supposed to discuss in this week. And this morning, I actually posted a video on TikTok, which was entitled, You're Not Meant to Survive, right? And the whole topic was about how you're meant to thrive, right? Because what about if your soul is craving more? It's wanting more. It's desiring more. And someone in that video, in the English version of the TikTok video that I posted today, commented that craving more is the problem. I was like. So I responded back, and my response was, well, it depends what kind of craving more it is, right? When it's a craving more that's coming from the soul, there's nothing wrong with craving more. Now, if that craving more is at the expense of other people, is hurting other people, now that's a problem, right? That's a big problem. And he understood where I was coming from, but most likely, perhaps he still thinks, okay, craving more is the problem. Now, I want to say this. It's so important for you to be mindful of your beliefs, of what you choose to believe, and the words that you use. This is because through your words, you're casting spells. That's right, you're casting spells. You are the creator of your own life, and you create your life also through your words. Now, for those that may be religious here watching this and is contradicting in their mind, no, 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 that's not true. No, I am not the creator of my life. It is God that is the creator of my life. Please put aside religion, because this has nothing to do with religion. This has absolutely nothing to do with religion. Regardless whether you realize it or not, you are the creator of your life. All right? You are the creator of your life. And this has nothing to do with religion at this point. And by the way, God cannot do through you, if you're here thinking, oh, God is the creator, God cannot do through you what you don't allow God to do through you. Do you get where I'm going with this? Right? So, and you know that saying that God helps you if you help yourself? So, in that sense, I mean that you are the creator of your own life, because you create your own life through your actions, through your beliefs, through your words, through what you allow and what you do not allow, right? What you decide, who you decide to surround yourself by. That's all you. That is all you. And the reason why I even mention this is because I've seen and I've heard people say, well, why did God allow this to happen? Things that they decided to do. It's like, no, 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 no. If you made that bad decision, you have free will. That was your choice. That was not God. So please leave that out of the equation, because I've heard all kinds of things, and I'm like, no, no. You are the creator of your own life, whether you are aware of it or not, because you're the thinker of your own thoughts. You're the one living your own life. Okay. So in this sense, everything matters. Your choices matters. Absolutely everything matters. So your beliefs and your words matter so much, especially for this week's topic. And I say this because one of the things that I've noticed is that one of the many reasons, because there could be many reasons why some people are able to, or some people are not able to attract more in life, is because on some level, they're not giving themselves permission to have more. And this is so subconscious, but on some level, they're probably not giving themselves permission to have more, right? Probably on some level, they think that there's something wrong with wanting more, right? They think that only a few people can have more while others cannot. Or they have a sense of guilt on having more. And I mention that because I too had that, right? Where I felt guilty about having certain things. It may sound silly, but it's very, very real. Or some limiting belief they might have. And believe it or not, if you have the belief that craving more, wanting more is the problem, that is a limiting belief. If you believe that wanting more and craving more is the problem or is a problem, that's a limiting belief. That's a limiting belief. And I want you to really get this. There is nothing wrong with wanting more. There's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting more. What can make wanting more wrong is the energy behind it, right? Meaning, what's the actual intention behind wanting more, right? Is it for more life for others, or is it for less life? If the intention of wanting more is one that hurts others or is not the right one, obviously that's what's wrong. It's not the wanting more per se, it's the energy behind it. So it's not the craving more or wanting more, once again, the problem. It's the intention and the energy behind it that you want to be mindful of. You don't want to be mindful of, oh, I cannot want more. No, you are in all your right of wanting more. And I'm going to explain why. Again, and I'm going to repeat it over and over because I want this to really stick in your head. There is nothing wrong with wanting more, because number one, wanting more is the desire for growth. Okay, it is the desire for growth. Everything in nature is designed to grow. Nature is abundant. It's very abundant, very abundant. And you're also a part of nature. You are an extension of nature. That means that by default, you are meant to grow. By default, you are meant to be abundant. What would happen if nature decided that it would just be content with creating certain trees and only of a certain height? Well, depending on what kind of trees it decided to grow, certain parts of the world would be deprived of the beauty and goodness of those trees. For instance, the palm tree doesn't survive in a climate like New York. So if nature just decided to have regular trees and no palm trees, the Caribbean and warm places would be deprived of such a beautiful tree like the palm tree. You get where I'm going with this, right? What would happen if nature just decided that it's only going to grow apples, only apples? Well, we will miss out on oranges, strawberries, blueberries, bananas, kiwis. Like, we would be deprived of all other fruits. And if you're wondering, okay, what in the world does this have to do with my own growth? Well, when you deprive yourself of growth, you're depriving yourself of experiencing other parts of you that you're meant to be experiencing. And you not only deprive yourself, you're also depriving others of the beauty that they're meant to experience because of your own growth. You get how valuable this is. If I were to decide 10 years ago that I wasn't going to grow anymore, you would not be experiencing the aura that you are experiencing right now. You get how valuable this is. That's because this version of me required inner work, healing, changing habits, changing mindset, having a higher level of awareness, having a higher standard for myself. And all of that I just mentioned is growth. That is growth. You're meant to grow, AKA maturity, right? Maturity is actually growth. I did a training about 2 years ago, Made to Mature is entitled. And I explained how maturity actually means growth. Maturity has nothing to do with age. I think so many times we've been we've been associating maturity with growth, but not necessarily. Because there's people that are older and they don't have the maturity that perhaps one would have, and there's people that are younger that have more maturity. So I share that so that you can get that age doesn't necessarily equal maturity, right? Maturity is growth. And so don't think that just by letting time pass by, oh, that's when I'm going to mature. No. Believe it or not, maturity is also a decision. Oh, Aura, you probably never heard that before. Maturity is a decision. Growth is a decision, because that's what maturity is, once again. It is growth. So maturity is a decision to always be a better person in every way, a decision to always learn from everything, a decision to improve certain areas of you and your life, a decision to raise your level of consciousness. That's all a decision. You don't need to wait until you're 40, 50, or 60, or whatever age. That's something that you could decide now as a grown adult. Okay? And if for whatever reason what I just said just doesn't land, it doesn't resonate, you don't agree with it, please do not dismiss it. Please do not dismiss it. Just because for whatever reason you're either not at the level of consciousness to get it, or it's just not resonating at the moment, or you just don't get it, that is not a reason to dismiss it. You can't even imagine how many times my mentor would say things in the past that I was like, I don't get it. It doesn't resonate. No, no, no. And then either sometime later or a year later, I'm like, oh my God, that was wisdom right there. That was wisdom right there. I just wasn't in the level of consciousness to really get it, to really understand the truth behind what she was saying. So just because you don't understand something or it's just not landing for you yet, don't dismiss it. Nothing, nothing. Not just what I say, but anything that you may hear that you're like, I don't get it. Don't dismiss it. Okay? Don't dismiss it. You are meant to grow. You are meant to mature. You are meant to grow in the way that you are meant to grow, because not everybody grows the same way, right? We all have our own path. We're all going to grow at different rate, different speed, different ways. So not everybody's growth is going to look the same. In the process of growth, you will make mistakes. So make room for the mistakes. Because as you give room for the mistakes, that's going to allow you not to be so hard on yourself. Okay? There will be failures, right? Failures. There's a reason why I say it in quotation marks, right? And I want to say this, do not let no one shame you for your failures. I want to say that because this is very important. And for your information, if anyone tries to shame you for failing in whatever it is that you're doing, they probably don't even have the courage to do what you're doing. So don't let nothing or no one shame you from making any mistake or failures or anything. And by the way, haven't you noticed that those that either criticize you, if you take a good look at them and their life, they're nowhere near either where you're trying to go, or they're probably worse off than you. So I say that. And by the way, those that are on top, whatever you consider on top, right? I can guarantee you that those that are on top, they're not criticizing people. They're not criticizing people. So you don't have to worry about those that will criticize you. And the reason why I say this is because if you're concerned, oh, I'm going to be criticized or someone is shaming me because I failed, no, let it go. They probably don't have the courage to do what you're doing right now. Because you know the courage that it takes to go after the things that you want, it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage, okay? So failure is a part of the process of growth. I want you to get that, okay? You're also going to be rejected. By the way, when I do this, it's because it's not really that's in between the quotation marks. So failure is not really failure, it's just lessons. And you're going to be rejected, right? And there are going to be valuable lessons in those perceived rejections, right? You're going to learn so much about yourself, what your needs are, what your wants are, what your non-negotiables are. Your perceived rejections can allow you to raise your own standards so that you can allow more of what's in alignment with you. Okay? And the reason why I say perceived rejections is because nothing has to be a rejection. Absolutely nothing has to be a rejection. It's all on how you view it, right? the meaning that you give to things, play a big role in how you process things and how you feel about things. So in the process of growth, again, there will be mistakes, there will be failures, there will be rejection. Okay? Growth is a crooked line, not a straight line. Every part of those dips matter for your growth. That's a takeaway right there. So I'm going to repeat that because I really want you to get that. Growth is a crooked line, not a straight line. And every part of those dips matter for your growth. There's nothing wrong with wanting more because number two, wanting more is the desire to explore other parts of who you are. Okay? You will never know what you're capable of unless you explore. Okay? It's through exploration that you will be able to uncover what isn't right for you, what you truly like, what you do not like. You explore other sides to you. You uncover new talents. You expand on the talents that you already have. When you allow yourself to explore, you lean into your curiosity. And two things that I would like to say about exploration, because this is going to be very important when you are on your journey to explore more about yourself. Number one is to pay more attention to the inner voice more than the outer voice. Others will always have something to say on what you should do, what you shouldn't do, what path you should be on. And you want to be mindful not to allow those voices to be bigger than your own voice. You do not want to do that. You want to lean into what you feel called to do. Okay, very important. And number two, don't seek to be understood by others. Oh my gosh, this is a big one. I want you to know this. When you're on your own journey and you are being true to yourself and where you are and what you want to do, most likely you're going to have people that they're not going to understand you or they're not going to understand what you're doing, right? And that's because they're not on the same path as you. They're just not. So when you fall into the trap of needing to be understood, you are most likely to deviate from your path. And why? Because, oh, I don't want to be the oddball here, or I don't want to be criticized. By the way, when you're around people that don't get you, you don't seem to click, it doesn't resonate, it's just not, that's not your tribe. That's not your tribe. If you notice that, that's not your people, that is not your tribe. Get new friends. It's time to get new friends when that's the case. And by the way, I want to say this. You always want to be cultivating new friendships in every stage of your life. This is so important. You never just want to stay with the group of friends that you've had all your life. You don't want to do that. And why not? Because those friends that you have may either get married or have kids, so now they have responsibilities, and now they're not going to have that same amount of time to dedicate to you, or they may move to another state or another country, and so you don't have that connection the way you had before, or probably your friends pass away, one friend passes away, or you just go your separate ways, right? So it's always good to be cultivating new friendships. You always want to do that in every stage of your life. This is part of you having that healthy social life. And by the way, I want to clarify this because I said this in the Spanish version. I want to say this here. When I say this, you always want to be cultivating new friendships. I want you to be mindful of the kind of friends that you're selecting. You're not just going to choose anybody just so you're not alone and whatnot. No, 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 no. You want to choose people that are going to allow you to grow and be a better version of you, right? Like you want to seek people that are healthy for you. Because, of course, it's better to be alone than to be in bad company, right? Like we say in Spanish. So be mindful of the people that you select. That's very, very important. But it's so important. And it's so important that you are cultivating new friendships. Okay. So going back to exploration, can you imagine how your life would be like if you had no desire to learn anything else? Life would be boring. It would be stagnant. It would lack spice. Exploring more, learning more equals wanting more. I want you to get that because I think we've been connecting the wanting more to just material things, and wanting more doesn't necessarily mean that you're wanting more material stuff. It means you want to uncover more, discover more, see what else is possible for you, see what else you are capable of, see what else you can accomplish, see what else you are all about. That's what wanting more is. So there's nothing wrong with wanting more. There's nothing wrong with wanting more. Okay. And number three, there's nothing wrong with wanting more because wanting more equals life. I want you to get that. That's right. More life. So, since wanting more is the desire for growth, growth is a part of life, right? And everything is designed to grow. So, anything that stops growing, that means it dies. Think about it. Anything that stops growing dies. So if you stop exploring parts of who you really are, if you stop evolving as a person, if you have nothing to look forward to, any aspirations, things that you are curious about, life gets very boring. You will feel as if your soul is not even in your body. Have you ever had those moments where you are physically in a place, but it's like your soul isn't there? It's like it's not even in your body. It's awful, right? It's very awful. I know I've been there. And it is not a good sensation. It's not a good sensation. And by the way, if you experience that, that's an indicator that you're not doing what you're meant to be doing in this stage or season of your life. There's a reason why I say in this stage and season of your life, and that's because of this. We're all going to go through different seasons in our life, and what may have been great to do at one time may not necessarily be great for you further down the road. You may decide, okay, this is not what I want to do anymore. This is not what I feel called to do. This is not what I'm inspired to do. This is not what lights me up, and that's okay. It's important for you to pick up on that and be like, okay, I gotta change that. I gotta do something different. I have to figure out, what do I need to do that would truly light my soul up? What direction is my inner being wanting to direct me? It's up to you for you to really notice that, okay? So if you notice that you feel like your soul is not in your body, like you're not present, fully present in what you're doing, let that be an indicator that you're being redirected, okay? And I'm going to also say this. I can guarantee you that once you get in every cell of your body that there is nothing wrong with wanting more, and that wanting more equals life, you will no longer have funky feelings when desiring more. Whether that desiring more is desiring more money, or a bigger circle of friends, or desiring to live in a certain area, whatever it is that you are wanting more of, you're not going to have that icky feeling. You're not going to have that icky feeling to it. Okay. If you feel any ickiness about money, about success, about other people's successes, about other people wearing or buying brand clothing, or anything that has to do with like abundance, if you have any icky feeling, and by the way, this ickiness can be so subconscious that we're not even aware of it. It can be so subconscious. If you're criticizing other people's success, if deep down you're envying other people's success, if deep down you wish someone else didn't have the success, that's still having icky feelings about money, success, abundance. Okay? If that's the energy that you're carrying around money, success, and abundance, you're going to be repelling more from you. Rather than getting more, you're going to be repelling it. And that's what's going to need to be cleared out big time if you have that going on. Because there is no amount of affirmations, there is no amount of mantras, there is no amount of wanting more or desiring more or visualization that's going to really make that manifestation come to reality when you have that funkiness going on, when you have that ickiness going on, right? If a garbage is stinky and you try to put spray on it, that spray is only going to mask it for a few minutes, but the smell is still going to be there. It's still going to stink. There's still garbage. And so when you notice that affirmations are not working and none of that, that's because there's inner work that needs to happen first. You need to clear that up, because once you clear that up, then any affirmation, any mantra, any visualization will be able to sink in a whole lot better. A whole lot better. Okay. So if you have any kind of ickiness, again, that could be envy, that can be fear, right? You feeling uncomfortable seeing other people succeed, getting triggered because other people are succeeding. That's ickiness, and that's going to repel whatever you are wanting to you. There's no way you can attract abundance that way. That needs to be cleaned up. So if you are ready to do the cleaning up that needs to occur, get your mind right, get your spirit right, get yourself in alignment to the very things that you want. You're wanting clarity on what's truly the block, what's truly getting in the way, clearing that block and transforming that block into stepping stones to the life that you want. If that's what you're wanting, then I'm going to highly recommend that you schedule a clarity call with me. You could just message me directly. I'm always putting the link, anyways, to the clarity call. And in that call, we're going to talk about where you are now, where you would like to be, what is necessary to close that gap, and how I'm able to help you close that gap. You don't need to be confused. You don't need to be spinning. You don't need to not know what your next step is. It's time to change all that. It's time for you to get the clarity that you need. It's time for you to get the transformation that you're seeking. It's time. It's time to clean up the ickiness. If not now, when? If not now, when? So it is my intention that you really let this sink in. Really let this message sink in. If you have been like, oh my God, there's something wrong with wanting more. Is it possible to want more? No, wanting more is the problem. Let this week's message be the message that clears all that up for you. Because if you have that belief, oh, wanting more is a problem, that is a problem. The belief that you have that it is a problem, that is the problem, because that's going to block your goodness and more coming to you. And let this be this message that helps clear up why, helps you understand why there's nothing wrong with wanting more, because wanting more is the desire for growth. Wanting more is the desire to explore more about yourself and your life and what you're capable of. Desiring more and wanting more and craving more, it's just a desire for more life. And you're meant to be experiencing more life. So let this episode be the episode that really changes all that for you. And share this episode with other people. You never know who needs to listen to this message. And with that said, it is my desire that you live life to the max, the way you are destined to live. And until next time, bye for now.